I keep my goals to myself, cause whenever I share with folks, they get a look upon their face and their memory floats to a time where their goals and the stars ain't.
What's good? We're going to get into Monday Night Raw from February the 2nd, 2026. This show was a disaster. The only good part was the 10-minute back and forth promo between CM Punk and Roman Reigns. That was great. That was really good, setting up the WrestleMania 42 match, which was excellent. So that was good. Everything else on the show was just irrelevant and unimportant, if we're being honest. So it is really what it is, but it is what it is. So we're going to start off with that first, and then from there we'll get into the rest of the show. So we end the show with CM Punk and Roman Reigns. So Roman comes out, he gets on the mic, he basically says he has a love-hate relationship with Philadelphia, because he has a whole bunch of highs and lows. So Roman says he's got a massive decision to make. If he's going to go after Drew McIntyre and face him for the WWE Undisputed Championship, or go after CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. So he says Drew McIntyre, the crowd boos. He says CM Punk, the crowd cheers. So the cheers have it. So CM Punk shows up. He calls out Finn Balor, putting him on notice. So Roman tells CM Punk he must have had his bell rung for interrupting him. So Punk says that Roman's a visitor on this show and that he calls the shots. He knows that Roman's choice is pretty clear, and he knows that Roman's going to take the easy way out by facing Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania 42. So basically, Roman puts over Drew McIntyre, saying that he's 4 times bigger than CM Punk, and that he's beaten he's beaten McIntyre multiple times, 3 years basically in a row. So basically, Roman said that Drew McIntyre made CM Punk cry over a bracelet, but then Punk says that the medics ran out to try to put Drew McIntyre back together. He put him in the dirt. Punk says that Roman didn't beat Drew clean for most of that. It was really his family. It's like, no, that's a lie. Roman did beat Drew clean a few years back. I believe that was in 2021. He beat McIntyre clean, or was that in 22? I think it was either 21 or 22, one of the two. But I know that Roman's beaten McIntyre clean at least once. And I think it was in 22. I have to look into that again. But anyway, Punk says that Roman manipulated his family into thinking that he elevated WWE when he just took the company hostage. And Punk heard what Roman said on Pat McAfee, on the Pat McAfee show, and says that no one's trying to follow in Roman's footsteps. He says just because Roman was a world champion longer than he was, it doesn't mean he did it better. Punk says that Roman is a WrestleMania main eventer and he's earned the right to call a shot and to show up when he wants. But he chooses to show up week after week. He says that Roman can go after the title that made Drew McIntyre like a man, or he can go after the man who makes the man in him. Roman says that he would be trying to get like Punk in his position, and then says the only thing he'll learn from Punk is what not to do. Roman says that CM Punk wouldn't be where he is without him. Then says they came to him to ask him if it was a good sign to sign CM Punk again. He made a promise to Paul Heyman, and he kept it, but he won't forget and forgive CM Punk for invoking his name 10 years ago on Colt Cabana's podcast, which made his life a living hell, and it made him a lot harder. made his life harder. Roman says CM Punk will acknowledge him in the main event at WrestleMania 42. Then he officially challenges CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania, and that was it. And Roman said that he hates CM Punk. So this was good. I thoroughly enjoyed this. This was excellent. Really good back and forth barbs. And we all know that Roman's going to win this simply because it sets up for WrestleMania 43, Rock versus Roman for the World Heavyweight Championship, which we should have gotten that match back at WrestleMania 40, but it didn't happen. It is what it is. Like the saying goes, better late than never. This is great. I do expect for CM Punk to deal with Finn Balor probably at the Elimination Chamber, which makes sense. And then after that, I expect for Finn to probably just maybe go after Dominic Mysterio and end the lame-ass Judgment Day storyline once and for all. So I can see that happening. But this was a pretty good way to end the show, basically. So, good stuff there. Alright, let's get into the rest of the show itself. So we officially kicked the show off with Braun Breaker. He's pissed off. He's full of piss and vinegar. He tips over the announce table and everything else. He starts screaming at Michael Cole and Corey Graves. He was pissed off for being quickly eliminated from the Men's Royal Rumble. So all the Vision and Paul Heyman are trying to calm down Braun Breaker. So Braun Breaker continues to yell and demands that Adam Pearce comes in the ring. So Paul Heyman gets on the mic and says things are Adam Pearce's fault for putting him as entrant number 2 rather than Braun Breaker at another number. I mean, later on in the Rumble match, Braun Breaker takes the microphone and says Adam Pearce has until the count of 3 to show up at ringside. So Pearce shows up. He's surrounded by security. And tells Breaker that he drew the number 2 spot. He says he has no idea who the masked man that attacked Braun Breaker, who he was, and reminds Braun that Theory was the last masked man that appeared on Raw. And so he wanted to get his hands on Adam Pearce, but LA Knight shows up and he beats up the Vision. Okay, and that's fine. So, whatever. Moving on from that, this leads us into the first match of the night. Javon Evans defeats El Grande Americano. And the original Grande Americano shows up, which is Chad Gable, who's jacked as shit. I'm like, damn, Chad Gable hit the gym like nobody's business. He probably was in the gym 6 times a week. 2 hours per session. Like, damn. Shit. So, I like that. It's fine, but I am ready for this gimmick for Chad Gable to end. Clearly, it'll probably end at a AAA event. I think that's perfect. You do mask versus mask or whatever, something like that or whatever. You do a Grande Americano versus a Grande Americano. The winner of that. I mean, the loser has to unmask, and I think that's the only way you get Chad Gable out of the gimmick. Yeah, so there's that. Moving on, this leads us into Gunther. He shows up. We hear AJ Styles music plays. That popped me for a brief second. Then we all got trolled. It was Gunther. He gets on the mic and he says, just like Goldberg and John Cena, AJ Styles found out when you step in the ring with Gunther, one's career and legacy will die. So Dragon Lee comes out. He attacks Gunther. He brings the fire to him, but Gunther beats him up with the ring bell and takes him out and chokes him out. He chokes him on the ring apron. So I do like this. This makes perfect sense. Officials come down to break it up. Clearly, this is going to set up a match between Gunther and Dragon Lee at some point in the future. Don't know when. You can just do that on a random Raw. It wouldn't matter. This thing does not need to go to the Elimination Chamber. It wouldn't make any sense for it to last that long. I really don't think it needs to last that long. You could do it in like 2 weeks or whatever. So that's fine, I guess. But again, what Gunther does at WrestleMania 42, I have no idea, and I really don't give a damn because I'm not really that much of a fan of Gunther. He's one-dimensional. I like him as a wrestler, and he's okay as a heel. But other than that, Gunther is just not the guy. Like, he's not someone that's going to main event WrestleMania, night 1 or night 2. He's just not it. He's not. He's not that guy. And that's not a bad thing, right? It's not a bad thing. Moving on. So, we go backstage. Adam Pearce informs Paul Heyman that LA Knight has been kicked out of the building, and that he suggested Braun Breaker leaves as well. So, Paul Heyman escorts Braun Breaker out of the arena. Okay, that's fine. We were going to get a tag match, but Oba Femi showed up and destroyed the War Raiders, which was fucking awesome. It was amazing. He beat the shit out of both Eric and Ivar, which was great. Love this. I love what they're doing with Femi. He's still a free agent, basically, but he'll probably end up going to Raw anyway, which makes sense. They're trying to make Raw the A show and SmackDown basically be a B show, like a B minus show or whatever. So that's really what's going to happen there. I wouldn't be shocked if Eric and Ivar, if their contracts are up sometime this year, and they end up going to AEW. I could see them going there. Moving on from that, this leads us into the Bellas. They return. So Nikki Bella says this is a cool moment that the Bella twins are in the ring together for the first time in 7 years. Then says everyone is happy to have. That everyone is happy that Brie Mel is back. Brie says that she's happy to be back home. Then says she decided to come back not because Nikki kept getting beat down. She says herself and Nikki were the original women's tag team. Then says that the women's tag division is better than ever. And she basically says that her and Nikki want dibs. And she says it's time for the Bella Twins to go after the women's tag team championships. Who gives a shit about that? Moving on. Penta defeats Bronson Reed via countout. So LA Knight showed up towards the end of the match, got involved. The Vision chased him off. And that was cool there. I like that. So good stuff there. I like what they're doing with LA Knight. Really, I do. Clearly, it's going to be LA Knight versus Poppy Logan Paul at Mania 42, which makes the most sense. So that's good there. Moving on, this leads us into Dominic Mysterio, who's been gone for like a month and a half now. Thankfully, he's back. He gets a pretty good reaction. It's just that he's only willing to come back and show up in a place like Philadelphia to celebrate the winner of the 2026 Women's Royal Rumble. So he introduces Liv. She gets a really good reaction. So the fans say that Liv deserves her win. So Liv Morgan says that everyone's lucky to have Dominic back. She says she's planning on going to SmackDown on Friday to assess who she wants to challenge. Who she wants to challenge for the WWE Women's Championship or the Women's World Championship. But acknowledges there's going to be a new world champion crowned tonight when Raquel Rodriguez dethrones Stephanie Baker. Spoiler, it doesn't happen. So Raquel shows up and she asked Liv Morgan why she eliminated her from the Royal Rumble. And Liv Morgan says Raquel Rodriguez isn't selfish. She says a win for one in Judgment Day is a win for all. And while Raquel agrees, she tells Liv Morgan to stay in the back during a match tonight. Okay. Then this leads us into the main event of the evening, which wrestling-wise, which was Stephanie Baker defeating Raquel Rodriguez in the Philadelphia Street Fight. So Liv Morgan disobeyed Raquel Rodriguez, and she got involved in the match. So, yeah. So Stephanie Vacker basically retained. The match itself was okay. Not really much to really talk about. Steel chairs, kendo sticks, steel steps. Stephanie Vacker ended up doing the Devil's Kiss, not once but twice in the match. She did it once on the announce table, the other time on the steel steps, which was great. There was a table spot that they tried to do, which Stephanie ended up doing a Hurricane Rana. The table barely broke, but they did it anyway, which was funny. And then Stephanie Vacker wins via the corkscrew splash for the 1, 2, 3. So there is that. So that was Monday Night Raw in a nutshell. It was boring. CM Punk and Roman, they held it down. Liv, we all knew that she was going to go after Stephanie Vacker anyway. I doubt if she was going to even appear on SmackDown because she attacked Stephanie Vacker post-match. So that makes perfect sense. What do you do with Raquel Rodriguez? You could have Raquel be the reason as to why Liv wins at WrestleMania 42. And then from there, you can set up Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. I think that makes the most sense. You do Liv being a heel and Raquel basically the babyface, I guess. I don't know, but it is what it is. Forgot to mention that Roxanne Perez got involved in the match as well. So, there's that. But Monday Night Raw was pretty lackluster and boring outside of the CM Punk and Roman Reigns stuff. But what did you guys think? Oh, and also, Punk and Roman should only happen once. That's it. Once. Because I think for WrestleMania 43, they're probably going to do Rock and Roman and then Cody and Punk. And I think those are the two biggest matches that you could do for WrestleMania, right? Rock Roman night 2, Cody Punk night 1. And I think that makes sense. They'll probably end up doing Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair next year as well, because they want that Saudi show to be massive as hell. But what did you guys think of Monday Night Raw? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.